The Psalms are wonderful to read, but even more wonderful to sing. That, after all, is why they were written, to sing the praises of the Lord. I was brought up singing a psalm at the opening of the Sunday morning service every week in our Nazarene church in Glasgow. We used the Scottish metrical psalter. At the time of the Reformation, the Reformers thought it important that the whole congregation should sing, and that they should sing words inspired by the Holy Spirit. And therefore, that mainly meant the singing of the Psalms. So some of the metrical Psalms are deeply imprinted on my memory. The best known, of course, Psalm 23. The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. He makes me down to lie in pastures green. He leadeth me the quiet waters by. And then that last great verse, goodness and mercy all my life shall surely follow me, and in God's house for evermore my dwelling place shall be. Our idea of poetry is different, of course, from that of the ancient Hebrews. For them, the poetic form was parallelism. So the same thought was given in two different sets of words. So in Psalm 19, for example, the psalmist sings, "The heavens are telling the glory of God." And then he repeats the thought in different words, "And the firmament proclaims his handiwork." Our idea of poetry is somewhat different. Our heritage from the ancient Greeks and Romans teaches us that poetry should normally have meter, a beat, and that the lines should rhyme. So the Reformers thought that the Psalms should be set in meter, the metrical Psalms. So, the Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. There is a rhythm, a meter there. And at the end of the second line, the word leads me down to lie, rhymes with the quiet waters by at the end of the fourth line. Now, that's what we generally expect. But so many of these old metrical psalms are imprinted on my memory. I think, for example, of Psalm 84, rejoicing in the beauty of the house of God. How lovely is thy dwelling place, O Lord of hosts, to me, the tabernacles of thy grace. How pleasant, Lord, they be. And then there is Psalm 121, a favourite psalm of David Livingstone, as he tramped through the dense forests of Central Africa, bringing the gospel to the people and seeking to put an end to the slave trade. He was eventually found kneeling by his camp bed, having died while praying, and before him on the bed was laid out his psalter with the words of Psalm 121. I to the hills will lift mine eyes. From whence doth come mine aid? My safety cometh from the Lord, who heaven and earth hath made. One of my boyhood memories of singing the Psalms was not in church, but in morning assembly at the grammar school I attended in Glasgow, founded in 1649. In the old Victorian building, the serried ranks of boys would stand in the school hall, 600 of us, youngest to the front. And the schoolmasters would file in their black teaching gowns. And each year, on Remembrance Day, on the 11th of November, when we all wore our poppies, like this one, in remembrance of the dead of 2 world wars, we would sing Psalm 124. Now, we boys did not remember the Second World War, of course, but the teachers on the platform did. Some of them had served in the British Army, the Royal Navy, the Royal Air Force. Others had been teaching in the school during the years when the bombs had fallen on Glasgow, aimed at the shipyards on the River Clyde. I recall our French teacher telling us in his humorous way of his good friend George, who'd given him a brown suit and sent him off to France. But when the words of Psalm 124 were sung in those days, they had a deep meaning. Now Israel may say, and that truly, if that the Lord had not our cause maintained, if that the Lord had not our right sustained, when cruel men against us furiously rose up in wrath to make of us their prey, then certainly they had devoured us all, and swallowed quick, for all that we could deem. Such was their wrath as we might well esteem. And as fierce floods before them all things drown, so had they brought our souls to death quite down. But blessed be God, who doth us safely keep, and hath not given us for a living prey unto their teeth and bloody cruelty. Therefore, our help is in the Lord's great name, who heaven and earth by his great power did frame. I think today of Christian people in war-torn countries, especially our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, for whom this psalm has deep meaning today. Of course, it is unlikely that these metrical psalms set in metre and rhyme in the 17th century could catch on today. But some of our praise choruses echo the psalms, and there are some modern versions. I think, for example, of the contemporary settings by Ken Bible. However we do it, surely we should be not only reading, but singing the Psalms of David for so many centuries, the inspired hymnal of the Christian Church.